I knew I needed 2 weeks off. This is the way I could do it.
I knew you were trying to get out of work.
No, and he's going to put that band-aid around it, and then you can go right back to work.
Hello, Snack Pack. Welcome back to Travel Snacks. Today's episode is all about safety when building, especially in a van conversion. Today we have a special guest, and you'll get to see a little bit more of when my dad cut his thumb off. I'll put a graphic warning when that part comes up. We have a lot of good tips and things that you should consider before and during a van build. I'll also be throwing in some examples of the wrong way to do something and a better way to do something. There's a lot packed into this episode, so let's jump right in.
We are not professionals. If you follow any of the things we do in this video, it's at your own risk.
I don't know what to do with my legs.
Chilling. I'll sit in the back of the van.
All right, so okay, so my special guest for the day is my friend Ivana, which you guys may know from videos from when we were in Florida together. If you haven't watched those, go check that out. And if you watched the live stream for my birthday at the end of September, she was a special guest then as well. But, so welcome.
Thank you.
So what you guys don't know about Ivana is that she has been for 17 years a safety, health, and environmental professional by trade for some of the top Fortune 500 companies, which these are awesome companies, which we will not name, but awesome companies. And she knows her stuff when it comes to safety. So I thought it'd be fun to start out by asking her a few questions. Question number 1. So you've seen most of our van build videos so far for me and my dad, right?
Yep.
Okay. Has there been any times where you watched the video and you were just cringing, like, why are you doing that? You should be doing this instead? Or what are your thoughts on some of our videos in terms of safety and the things we haven't probably been doing?
Yes. There were times where I was thinking, did they think this through before they started doing this particular task?
Okay.
What I refer to as a risk prediction.
Okay, good terms.
You know, you want to be able to talk things through before you do it, understand where am I going to be standing, where are you going to be standing, what direction are we heading in, and determine what are the possible risks through every point of this task.
Okay.
So that you can try to eliminate, an injury or a strain, and make adjustments before you actually start working on it.
Do you think regular people can do that if they don't have experience?
Yeah, I think so. You know what you're going to do. Just for example, laying down this board. We talked about, okay, we're going to lift this board, we're going to walk in that direction, or, that side of the van, and then we're going to put it in through the back.
Okay.
You'll go in first. Those types of things of walking through the task is basically, it's the basics of a risk prediction.
So that sounds like a lot of extra time when you're kind of not short on time, but you want to just get the project done. So what do you say to people that say, I kind of know what we should be doing in terms of safety, but whatever, we'll just skip it?
Here's the thing. It sounds like a lot of time. However, you're going to waste a lot more time if you end up getting injured.
Facts. Just like when we did the floor, we didn't sit down with a pad of paper and be like, okay, step 1. Now, I know this video is about playing it safe and being cautious, but one area you don't need to hesitate is subscribing to this channel. So hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and throw a like on this video. We didn't sit down with a pad of paper and be like, okay, step 1, we're going to walk 20 steps. Step 2,
right.
We're going to, we had like maybe a 30-second conversation. Okay, we're going to do this, we're going to go in this way, and then we're going to do it.
And that's it.
So that seems pretty fair. Thinking back to some of the projects we've already done on the van, I think if we would have started the day by saying, okay, today we're doing this, let's consider these things.
Yeah, I mean, it's best to do it just before you actually start that task because it's fresh, and if you talk about it an hour or two before you start it, you're going to forget about the risks that you may have brought up.
But if somebody's going to build a van in general, what are some of the things that comes to mind, because a lot of the snack pack people, or just a lot of people that watch the videos in general, they either already live in a van or are going to be building a van or are in the middle of it.
I mean, I'm certainly not a van expert, but what I think about is you're probably going to need to use some type of machinery, like an electric saw, or there might be some times where you have to handle some heavy weight, and hopefully you're not doing this van build alone.
Good point.
But the thought is, if you're going to be working with any type of electrical machinery, get yourself educated, read on how to operate that machinery. It'll usually suggest what personal protective gear you need to prepare yourself with, that you might find yourself working with tools that you've never had to deal with before in your regular house, everyday living.
Yeah. All right, my final question is, so today when I was cutting the notches for this wood, I was using a jigsaw, and after I did like maybe 1 or 2 cuts, you're like, do you have more cuts? And I was like, yeah. And you're like, okay, we need to stop every now and again and shake out your hands, and maybe you could talk more about, explain that reasoning for that.
Yeah, there is a lot of repetitive motion in the use of your body when you're doing a project like this. Bending, kneeling forward, awkward positions. I mean, you're dealing with an awkward space here. With the machinery that you were using, it was an electric tool, and your hands are vibrating, and you're however many pieces you need to cut, you have to give yourself a break between those vibrations, because through constant repetition, your nerves are, they're going to get confused. Your muscles are going to react differently. Just giving your body a break and letting your body know this is going to stop, this is temporary, kind of shaking out your hands will help you to have less, I guess trauma would be a good word for it. Even though it would be temporary, you want to try to do what you can to prevent anything that's going to slow you down for working on something like this.
Yeah.
And this might be obvious to some people, but like when I was watching you work on the roof and you had a step stool, you were pretty much stretched out doing the work. Try to get closer to your work, because it's going to save you in so many ways.
Well, the next thing we're going to do is a talk with my dad about the finger cutting incident. And if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to play the clip right now.
Just skin on a table saw. It just cut right in front of the nail. When I feel the blade go through my skin, I know I'm in trouble.
Oh,
My gosh,
that looks pretty grody.
that's disgusting.
Looks like little white thing in the middle looks like the bone. I know I needed 2 weeks off. This is the way I could do it.
I knew you were trying to get out of work.
No, and he's gonna put that band-aid around it, and then you can go right back to work.
I would do anything for this van build.
This piece of foam is what my dad and I were cutting when he cut off his thumb tip. And I just opened it to use it, and look what I found. That is disgusting.
All of a sudden I see you with this wrapped bloody thumb. And I think it'd be helpful for like Allison's viewers if we could talk a little bit about what happened that day. Okay, so
Go. What were we
Share.
doing that day?
Oh, I thought that was a little thing.
Oh, Lord Jesus. So this is a table saw for wood only,
Yes.
right? Mainly wood.
But we needed to cut some foam very thin.
We needed to cut like a 1-inch foam into like a 1/2-inch foam.
And if you have a guard on the saw, you can obviously see you cannot get
Right.
a good small cut, sideways cut.
because the guard would like
It'd be
cover this, right?
over
Yeah,
it.
Right, if you,
Like this.
you couldn't move this close enough.
Right, okay.
Everything was going very smoothly and going very great. And the last inch, something hit or bit on the saw, lifted this up, and my thumb
And he tried to push it back down.
and
And
In hindsight, is there something that you maybe would have done differently or could have done differently
Yes.
to prevent that?
what you normally would do, you would have a push stick.
Okay.
And you put this on the back of the foam and hold this against the blade and slowly push it through with the push stick, keeping your fingers out of the side of the blade.
And also wearing gloves is also good because that's an extra layer of protection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless the glove gets caught in the blade.
I don't know if people can tell, but you've got long hair.
Yep.
And you wear it back.
Yes.
If your hair was down like this and you were like, you know, getting a good shot and your hair gets caught, then your face is going to hit right onto that blade and then it's going to be like,
It'd be a
it's
pretty,
bad news.
it'd be a
Game
pretty
over.
graphic scene.
One last thing that comes to mind are these guys.
Okay.
So would you wear these, which is eye protection?
Yeah, so sit right there. Also, sometimes, depending on the wood, you might want to wear a mask
That's another good point.
because you're getting a lot of different sawdust. Some wood is pre-treated for like termites and stuff. You would breathe that sawdust in.
Oh
That
man.
wouldn't be good at all.
No, that's not gonna be good.
And if you're going to be cutting mainly larger pieces of wood, I would advise go ahead and put the guard on. Here's a guard for a smaller saw, but you can see if you're going to be doing small cuts also, you got the unbolt the whole saw mounted in there, and it's just, you know, so that's why a lot of people do leave it off, you know, old timers. But I do all kinds of different cuts, so
And you've got a lot of experience.
yes, my dad was a carpenter, and he taught me everything he knows. And back then, guards weren't even invented. But I have had 2 injuries off this saw, so I'm just telling people be very careful and plan before you use the saw.
And you've recovered.
His thumb is looking real good.
Here's my regular good thumb, and here's the healed thumb.
Oh yeah, it's looking really good.
Snack time.